Very good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss about the sputtering techniques. What is meant by sputtering and what the sputtering method does in PVD. So we will discuss about this sputtering methods now. Okay. So welcome to the lecture series session on EC402 nanoelectronics. Today we will discuss about the sputtering techniques in physical vapor deposition method. Sputtering deposition is a physical vapor deposition method of thin film deposition. In this process, an atom or a molecule, usually in its ionized form, hits a solid state target and knocks out the surface atoms. So this is what is called sputtering. So in sputter deposition method, actually what is the process which actually causes to make the deposition possible? In this method, actually a thin film of deposition is possible by making an atom or a molecule which is ionized in form that hits the solid state target and knocks out the surface atoms. And the surface atoms will be available at the surface and in that particular area or in that particular region of the target in the form of a plume. The erosion is accompanied by a second process, namely the deposition of the knocked out atoms on a second solid state, that is substrate, such as silicon wafer also. So this plume of atoms that actually forms as a layer on a substrate, which may be either a silicon wafer or so. So this layer will be deposited, or this layer of the vapor present in that particular plume will be deposited on the surface of the substrate. That is the sputter process. So this is the basic arrangement of sputtering. So we have a target, the target material of which the vapor is to be produced, and that vapor deposition is to be done on the surface of a substrate. The substrate may be a silicon wafer also, maybe a silicon wafer usually, because in most of the nanoelectronics cases or electronic cases, we actually make use of silicon as the wafer material. So over the surface of the silicon wafer, if you want to deposit nanolayers, so we have to use that substrate as the silicon wafer, and that is to be placed apart from the from target. So this is the target of which the vapor is developed, and that will be developed in the form of a plasma, in the form of a plume, and that is deposited over the surface of the substrate. Okay. So again here, in order to heat up the surface of the target, we have different methods, either by power supply method or by using electron gun. You can direct an electron gun upon the surface of the target so that the target will be getting heated up, and finally it reaches to a stage to disassociate the atoms available on the surface of the targets to dislodge. So that what happens, this particular atoms will be made available at this region in the form of a plasma, that is in the form of a vapor which contains the vapor of this material, which is acted as the target, and that is to be deposited on the silicon wafer as a nanomaterial or nanolayer. Okay, and again this particular process is done in a very low pressure, and for that purpose there will be a vacuum pump which will be connected onto this particular chamber, this is a chamber. Now the detailed construction aspects will be discussed now. Okay, so in sputtering techniques there are two methods. One is the DC sputtering or gloss discharge, and second one is the RF sputtering or high frequency discharge. Two types of sputtering are there. One is the DC sputtering or glow discharge sputtering, or the second one is the RF sputtering or high frequency discharge sputtering. So this is the arrangement for DC sputtering. Again, I have told you the basic structure we have seen already. So here this is the cathode, that is target, and that is to be connected to the negative polarity of the power supply that is used for heating up the target material. And this is a power supply arrangement, and that will be connected here, and the negative of the or cathode is this is actually connected to the negative polarity of the power supply, and this is the target of which the vapor is to be produced, and this is the substrate. This is actually a substrate over which the silicon wafer is to be provided, and above this particular substrate, usually when the surface of the target is heated up, the plasma will be developed, and plasma is actually a state of the matter, so which contains the vapor of the content of this particular target material. So that actually the material which is to be deposited upon the wafer as a nano layer is the type of metal or material that is to be used as the target. Okay, now sputtering is achieved by glow discharge. In the case of DC sputtering or glow discharge sputtering, sputtering is achieved by glow discharge with DC voltage. Sputtering is actually the method of deposition of the material upon the silicon wafer or substrate, silicon substrate. Okay, so when voltage is slowly increased, this power supply voltage is slowly increased, a small current flows over the two electrodes. Okay, a small current flows through this one, and of course there will be a small gap in between the substrate and the cathode. Now, glow discharge is created by applying a voltage between two electrodes in a glass tube containing a low pressure gas. We know how can we produce glow discharge. Glow discharge can be created by applying a voltage between two electrodes in a glass tube which is filled with a low pressure inert gas like argon or so. That we know how glow discharge is possible, because we have already seen this kind of glow discharge in neon bulbs and different types of tubes, and even in television tubes and all. When the voltage exceeds a value called a striking voltage, the gas ionization becomes self-sustaining and the tube glows with a colored light. When the voltage exceeds a value called a striking voltage, that is, between the electrode, if the voltage is increased to such an extent that there is a striking of arc developed between the electrodes, and in that case the gas ionization takes place between the electrodes. So gas ionization becomes self-sustaining, means there is a continuous gas ionization due to the arcing between the two electrodes, and the tube glows with a colored light, and due to this particular self-sustaining gas ionization there is a glow discharge between the electrodes. The color depends upon the gas used. So the color of the light produced due to this gas discharge is actually depending upon the gas used. The glow discharges are used as a source of light in devices such as neon lights, fluorescent lamps, plasma screen televisions. So these are all some of the examples of glow discharge tubes. Glow discharges are that particular phenomena is used in neon lights, fluorescent lamps. Fluorescent lamps actually is having glow discharge between two electrodes on either end of the fluorescent lamp, and plasma screen television is also working with this principle. And they are also used in the surface treatment technique called sputtering. Actually, the sputtering is really a surface cleaning technique for the silicon wafer materials like silicon wafers or substrate. In order to treat the surface of the material like silicon or silicon substrate, we can use the sputtering method. So this is a graph showing the voltage versus the current density for the discharge, that is the applied voltage versus discharge current. Actually, see the current density in ampere per centimeter square, that is shown here. This is actually gradually this is increased, like when the voltage is increased, the current is slowly increased like this, and it comes like this. And between the glow discharge, that is, there is a self-sustaining glow discharge occurs, and that particular area through that particular time at which the discharge occurs is what is called the Townsend discharge. You might have heard of this particular word in this discharge bulb, gas discharge tubes, that is Townsend discharge. Actually, the glow discharge taking place in between the two electrodes is actually taking place the ionization of the gas, and that particular phenomenon is usually called the Townsend discharge. Townsend discharge. So this flattened area, that the voltage that is the breakdown voltage at 600 volt here shown. Here this particular graph shows that the Townsend discharge, that is a self-sustaining glow discharge, occurs at this particular voltage. So that there is a self-sustaining discharge that is actually taking place due to the ionization of the gas in the tube, and that particular discharge is what is called the Townsend discharge. And here again it goes like that. Then after that, once the striking of the discharge, that is striking of the RP or between the discharge takes place, then the voltage gradually decreases. See here the voltage decreases and to the normal value, that is then the normal discharge through the gas tube occurs. Very similar to your fluorescent lamp. Once the striking of the voltage, striking of the arcing of the or glow discharge occurs between the two electrodes, then the tube works with the normal voltage only. But in order to strike the voltage, the tube has to develop a very large voltage of the order of some thousands volts. That is usually given by the that choke, that whether it is electronic choke or electromagnetic choke, that will be giving such a large voltage for having striking between that is striking between the electrodes, that is glow discharge between the electrons. Very similar to that one here in sputtering also, between the electrodes the glow discharge takes place and Townsend discharge takes place. Once the Townsend discharge and self-sustaining glow discharge occurs in the tube, of course in that particular chamber, what happens that the current decreases, and once the discharge takes place, the current decreases and it then glows with the normal voltage, say usually the normal voltage, what is it is 200 volt or whatever. Then again the current increases, that is the abnormal discharge like this, and it goes like this. Okay, so this is actually a graph showing the glow discharge in the in a gas tube, in a gas chamber. Okay, a self-contained gas discharge requires the production of sufficient secondary electrons by the impact of the ions on the target surface, and conversely the production of sufficient ions in the plasma by the secondary electrons. So actually what is really happening here between in the first case, that is here at the surface of the target, that is cathode or target, sufficient heat is developed, and also which actually causes to make this target material to be vaporized in the form of small atomic particles, and that will be made available as a that will be finally, due to the temperature is increased, that particular surface will be emitting this there will be vaporization of the surface material, that is in the form of atoms, and that will actually cause us to make ionization between this region, isn't it? So it essentially produces plasma. So this plasma is actually the plume of the material of the surface of the target. So target material, what is the target material? And its plume will be developed here in the form of plasma, and that is finally deposited upon the silicon wafer, and it is condensating here as a nano layer. That is the process taking place in this glow discharge chamber. This is a chamber called glow discharge chamber. So this is chamber in which this glow discharge is taking place in the case of a sputtering technique. And in order to understand that one, we have exemplified the case of filament, I mean fluorescent tube, neon bulbs, or plasma screen television, like that. Okay. Uh, so that are all some of the devices which make use of the glow discharge process. That is what we discussed that one. So now we have seen initially a self-contained gas discharge requires the production of sufficient secondary electrons by the impact of the ions. So by the impact of the ions on the surface of the material, which produces what? Which produces on the surface of the target surface, and conversely, the production of the sufficient ions in the plasma by the secondary electrons. So initial discharge actually makes the production of sufficient secondary electrons, and from the secondary electrons again in the plasma state sufficient ions are produced in the by the secondary electrons, sufficient, because these electrons will be colliding with each other in order to produce sufficient ions in the plasma. So that particular ions that are all deposited upon the silicon wafer as nanolayers. Okay. Then working of this particular system. The chamber is supplied with argon. Argon is inert gas and a constant gas pressure of some 100 torr. Torr is actually a unit of pressure, low pressure, that is pressure of the order of millipascal like. So 100 torr which is built up. So in this particular chamber, actually the pressure at which this particular phenomena takes place is very, very small pressure, which will be of the order of some 100 torr or so, or 100 millipascal or so. Okay. So the chamber is filled with argon gas, that is an inert gas with a very small pressure of constant gas pressure. The argon gas acts as a medium for initiating the discharge. Actually, the argon gas is an inert gas which acts as a medium for initiating the discharge. In order to initiate the discharge between two electrodes, of course, there must be some inert gas available in the chamber. That is here, that particular inert gas is the argon gas used. The target being attached a few centimeters above the substrate, and that is raised to a negative DC potential from -500 to -5000 volt. So the target is usually connected to the negative polarity, and the potential between the target and the substrate is actually raised from -500 volt to 5000 volt, -5000 volt, while both chamber and substrate are grounded. Chamberum substrateum എപ്പോഴും ground ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്. When the voltage is slowly increased, a small current flows over the two electrodes. When voltage is increased slowly, what happens? There will be a very small current flows over the two electrodes. Between the two electrodes, there will be a glow discharge takes place, and which actually takes a very small current in order to initiate the glow discharge. Okay. At higher voltages across the anode and cathode, the gas in the chamber becomes ionized. So the gas in the chamber is, that is argon gas that we know. At higher voltages, when voltage is increased, what happens? The glow discharge actually occurs in between the anode and cathode, and that actually causes to make the gas in the chamber ionized. The freed carriers can then gain enough energy so that the additional carriers are freed during the collision. Once the ionization takes place, what happens? The freed carriers will be colliding with each other with the ionized gas, isn't it? So this ionized gas atoms, and that will be collided with each other with the glow discharge. So glow discharge, and that is actually occurring in a low pressure chamber, So this ionization of the gas that actually feed up a large number of carriers, that will be colliding with each other, isn't it? So that this additional carriers produced due to the collision, and that particular process makes the glow discharge possible. And this process is what is called the Townsend avalanche multiplication. Townsend discharge or avalanche or multiplication. Townsend avalanche or multiplication, not avalanche multiplication. It is actually Townsend avalanche multiplication, because this particular discharge, glow discharge, is usually known by its that powder name, that is the Townsend. Townsend is a scientist, and who actually postulated that particular theory of discharge, glow discharge tubes. Okay, so that is the Townsend discharge or Townsend avalanche or multiplication. The ionized atom will hit the target. The ionized atom will hit the target and knock out the atoms. So that is the problem. So in the chamber, that the gas becomes ionized, this ionization actually makes the atoms to collide with the surface atoms of the target material. Target material may be a metal, or it may be some other material, some semiconductor material, or some kind of material, usually metals, usually some kind of metals, some kind of semiconductor metals or metals only. So usually this ionization in the gas chamber is actually having a very inert gas like argon, and that is having a very small pressure of the order of some 100 bar or so. Once the glow discharge takes place, that is a voltage between the electrodes are increased. So between the electrodes means between the target and the substrate. So that will be acting as the uh, electrodes in that glow discharge tube, in that glow discharge chamber. In that chamber, these two, that is the target and the substrate, will be acting as the electrodes, So that actually causes to make the gas ionized. Once the glow discharge takes place, when the voltage in the between the electrode is increased, because these electrodes are actually placed between a very small distance apart. So once the voltage between the electrodes are increased, there is a particular limit at which this voltage causes to make a striking between the electrodes, a striking of voltage between the electrodes. There is a arcing, glow discharge arc produced between the electrodes, and that actually causes to ionize the gas. So this ionization in the gas actually causes to make the ionized atoms to collide with the surface of the target material. So the surface atoms of the metal of the target material will be then disassociated, and that will be making collisions with each other to produce the secondary electrons in order to form a Townsend discharge or Townsend avalanche or multiplication. This ionized atom will hit the target and knock out further atoms. So each time this ionized atom, the ionized gas will be actually collide with each other, so that that particular atom will make the surface atoms of the target material to dissociate due to heating, isn't it? This will be deposited, and this particular hitting of the atom on the surface of the target material will be causing to deposit upon the solid substrate material just placed at a distance, small distance apart. That is the second electrode actually. That will be acting as the second electrode, right? So usually the target material is the material of which the vapor is to be formed, or of which the vapor of that particular material is to be deposited upon a wafer material, silicon wafer or so, and that will be act as a substrate. Okay, so that is the glow discharge sputtering. So in glow discharge sputtering, actually we are making use of what? We are making use of two electrodes, and one is actually the target material, and the other one is the substrate. And here the target material is usually given a negative voltage of the order of some 500 to 5000 voltage, and a small, this is actually placed placed in an enclosed chamber in which a low pressure argon gas is filled. So what happens then, when the voltage across the electrodes are slowly increased, then what happens, the gas between these two electrodes will be getting ionized. So this ionized atom, what happens, that will be due to this ionization of the atom, that will be hitting on the surface of the target, so that it will be disassociating the surface atoms available at the target. So that atom will be then disassociated from the surface, and that will be acting as a plume or plasma in between the two electrodes. And finally, when the voltage is increased, of course the discharge will be increasing, and there is a Townsend discharge takes place, and more plumes of the material will be available, and that will be deposited upon the wafer material, silicon wafer material substrate. And in this way, sputtering method of physical vapor deposition is taken place in the system. Okay, now I think you have understood this one. Now we will discuss about the RF sputtering. Okay, so RF means radio frequency sputtering. The word itself give you some clue upon the type of sputtering used in this particular case. So here we are actually using a high frequency discharge. RF means radio frequency, it's a high frequency discharge. Due to substantially small target surface, a proportionally large ion current flows if the backplate electrode is negatively polarized. This would mean that substrates are covered with the material of the bed, which is not intended. To overcome this shortcoming, a capacitor is connected in series between the high frequency generator and the target, and the conducting target is replaced with an insulating one. So here in this case, the way why we go for RF sputtering. So if the metal which is to be vaporized and that is to be deposited upon a substrate is a non-metal, or if it is an insulator, in such cases of course the DC sputtering cannot be used. DC sputter can be used if the target material is a metal. Because it essentially requires to have a current flow, isn't it? In order to have an ionization, in order to take place in ionization, so ionization current must be there. So in order to send the ionization current through that glow discharge, of course the metal which is used as the target will be a metal only. That should be a metal or conducting material only. But if you want to make a sputtering technique for a insulating material, in such cases it is better to use RF sputtering. So that is why instead of using the negative polarity electrode, we can have the negative polarity electrode to be a insulator that can be used. We can use the insulator as the material, and here this deposition can be made, or this deposition of the material can be made upon an insulator material. That is the idea. So here the deposition can be the backlight electron can be that is negative polarity that we have already seen. That is right. But if you want to make the deposition of the metal upon an insulating material, so the substrate material which is an insulating material, that is possible with this method, RF sputtering technique method. Okay. So here what in RF sputtering, the DC voltage is replaced by RF voltage. That is the main thing which is done in RF sputtering. DC voltage is replaced by RF voltage, as DC sputtering will not work if the substrate is an insulator. Because if the substrate, I told you in the case of DC sputtering, the substrate maybe a semiconductor material, silicon or something. Suppose if you want to make the sputtering of or the deposition of the metal or the nanolayer deposition upon an insulating material, in such cases of course DC sputtering cannot be used, because DC sputtering will be essentially taken place between two electrodes in which the gas ionization takes place. So in that case the material must be sending current between the two electrodes, isn't it? Should be sending current between two electrons. But in RF sputtering, of course, that is actually different from DC sputtering. Here, in the case of RF sputtering, the DC voltage is replaced. Usually, the DC sputtering we are using a DC voltage, and means the negative polarity is connected to the target material. Here, in this RF sputtering technique, DC voltage is replaced by an RF voltage generator. Right? So what is the advantage of using this RF sputtering? Main advantage is that we can have the substrate as an insulator, or you can deposit the metal or material upon an insulating material. So the DC sputter deposition is not suitable for insulator deposition, because the positive charges on the target surface reject the ion flux and stop the sputtering process. This is the reason. DC sputter deposition is not suitable for insulator deposition, because the positive charges from the target surface rejects the ion flux and stops the sputtering process. Okay, the solution for this is to reverse the polarity before the positive ion hitting. The solution for this is to reverse the polarity before the positive ions hitting the insulating target generate a positive repulsive charge. Upon polarity reversal, electrons will hit the target and neutralize any previous charge. So when the polarity reversal is taken place, what happens? The electrons available or electrons hit the target, and that will be neutralized immediately with the polarity. If the positive polarity is there, that will be attracting the electrons, and that polarity reversal causes to neutralize that effect, the presence of electrons on the surface. And this is realized by an alternating voltage RF to the electrodes. And how this reversal of polarity takes place? This reversal of polarity, actually in DC sputtering we have seen negative polarity is given to the target material. In RF sputtering also, of course, the negative polarity is given to the, actually in RF sputtering we cannot say it is negative polarity as it is given. If the negative polarity is there at one particular instant, of course then the polarity is reversed in order to get the electron, in order to take the electrons available on the surface of the hitting target to neutralize. So once when the positive polarity is there, then the electrons available on the surface of the target material will be neutralized, isn't it? Because RF sputtering means at each instant, of course, the voltage is taking positive polarity and then negative polarity, positive polarity, negative polarity, like that. So when the positive polarity is there, most of the electrons available at the surface of the target material will be neutralized. And this is realized by applying alternating voltage, that is RF, to the electrodes. So that is the reason why we are applying a radio frequency voltage or RF voltage, because which is a continuously changing voltage, alternating voltage, you know. So at the times when we want to give a positive polarity to neutralize the electrons available on the hit targets, then this RF voltage will be doing that. So why we actually reverse the polarity? That is due to this one. So DC sputter deposition is not suitable for insulated deposition, because the positive charges on the target surface rejects the ion flux and stop the sputtering process. This is the reason. That is why RF sputtering is used. Okay. Then how the deficiency of this DC sputter deposition can be overcome? That can be overcome by making the polarity reversed at what? The polarity of the target reversed, by making it positive. So that what happens? By making it, most of the ions hitting the insulated target generate a positive repulsive voltage. So that positive repulsive voltage will be neutralizing the electrons available on the surface of the target. Okay. Of course, when the working is discussed, you will understand more about this one. You will be confused on this particular area where I have given some discussions. That will be clearly mentioned in the working of this RF sputter. Then you will understand more clearly what is actually this reversal of the polarity, why it is done, and understand that DC sputtering is not possible to deposit materials on insulators, because it can be used, this DC sputtering technique can be used only for metals, because in which there are two electrodes through which the low discharge is to be taken place in order to deposit the metal upon the substrate surface. Okay. Now here we have the this is the arrangement, RF sputtering arrangement. Of course, I have given two diagrams like this, and this is the method which is actually used in RF sputtering system. There is an RF supply system. There is a target, sputter target. There is a rotating wafer, that is rotating wafer carrier, and rotating wafers are also placed here. That will be rotated so that at each time when plumes are available here, each wafer sputtering process will be taken place. Okay. So usually argon gas is placed here. So the method is very similar what we have discussed, but here we are using an alternating voltage supply or RF supply. That is the main reason why it is used, because if the sputter material or the sputter material is an insulator material, then that is to be deposited upon the wafer. Then in such cases, of course, positive polarity here will not work, the DC sputtering possible here. So in such cases, we have to go for an RF sputtering or RF voltage or radio frequency voltage, which is essentially an alternating voltage. So that is why we go for an RF sputter system. Okay. Now we will see how this particular system works here. This is the chamber in which the reaction takes place. That is the glow discharge takes place, and gas is an inert gas of argon is filled here. That is of the order of some 100 torr or so. And this is the substrate carrier, and that will be acting as the anode, and this is acting as the cathode. And here this is the generator. This is the what generator? This is the RF generator. RF generator which gives through a matching network circuit through a capacitor, and this capacitor actually makes the possibility of passing this RF current which is going through this one. But it will always block the DC flow. It will block the DC flow, at the same time it will allow to pass through AC current through this. Okay, and this will make this particular capacitor, that is a variable capacitor, will make the that RF, that the frequency of the RF voltage that is to be given to the system, that is almost 13.56 megahertz. Such a high frequency RF voltage is applied between the electrodes. This is the target material, and which is to be deposited upon the wafer here. Okay, wafer separated here, and this is in special the negative voltage is given here, negative voltage. Okay, so this is the setup, this is RF setup, and these two are the two electrodes. This is acting as the anode, and this is the cathode, that you have to understand. Now, and even when the voltage applied is alternating, why we take it as anode and cathode, that we will discuss now. Okay. So when using a capacitively coupled target, a conducting target is no longer used. So capacitively coupled target, a conducting target is no longer used. So this, I think you understand this one. When capacitive coupled circuit, it will conduct AC current through it. That is the idea. So conducting target is no longer used. It is not. There is no use of using a conducting target. You can have a capacitive coupled target that will be allowing the AC current which is flowing through it. That is the idea. Therefore, the number of layers which can be deposited by this sputtering is greatly increased. Now, how this particular system works? In order to deposit an insulting film, RF field is applied to generate a plasma between the target and substrate. Actually, what we are making, we are creating a glow discharge between the anode and cathode, so that the gas, inert gas, argon, that is ionized first when a voltage is applied between the cathode and anode. So this particular gas will be getting ionized and becoming a plasma state, making a plasma between this one, so that that particular gas ions, that will be that atomic ion atoms will be hitting the surface of the target in order to generate more and more plumes of the target material. Plumes of the target material in the form of plasma that is available between the target and substrate. So the radio frequency value of 13.56 megahertz has been reserved for the plasma processing. Usually, in order to produce such a plasma of the material, usually RF radio frequency of 13.56 is used. So 56 megahertz, that's very important. 13.56 megahertz supply is used for producing the plasma between the target material and substrate material. With the radio frequency, the target becomes a DC target. So that is the reason. With radio frequency, the target becomes a DC target because the mobility of electrons is very high as compared to that of ion. So that is the thing you have to understand. When we are applying an RF, it is as good as applying a DC voltage at the target material. Why? Because the target becomes a DC target because the mobility of electrons is very high in the target compared to that of the ions available on the that gas region between substrate and target. Between substrate and target, the mobility of the electron is far higher than that of the ion. Hence, ions cannot follow the rapid change of RF field. So, ions cannot change the rapid field of rapid change of the RF field. So, radio frequency will be alternately making the field changing, isn't it? Such a very high, fast changing, and that is of the order of frequency 13.56 megahertz. Such a fast changing of the RF causes the ions to not to follow the rapid change of the RF field. But the electron frequency or movement, the mobility of the electrons will be very high due to the RF application. But the mobility of ions is not that possible because the ions cannot follow the rapid changes of the RF field produced. During the positive half cycle of the RF, the target is positive. During the positive half cycle, target is positive. Just understand why I have told you why DC sputtering is not possible with insulator materials to deposit. So, this is the reason. During positive half cycle of the RF, the target is positive. Electron from the discharge space is attracted to the target. So, already the ionization caused to dissociate the atoms there in the gas. So, the electrons from the discharge space, that is between the space between the target and the substrate, that is the discharge space. So, electrons from the discharge space is attracted to the target. They hit on the target. So, while they are attracted towards the target, they really hit on the target surface and charge it. So, such a hitting of the electrons on the target makes the surface electrons to dissociate. So, the current flow to the RF generator is prevented by the capacitor connected between the generator and the target. So, during the DC, during the positive half cycle, the DC target becomes just like a DC. It is just like a DC target. It becomes just like a DC target. Why? Because the mobility of electrons is very high, but at that time the mobility of the ion in the gas area, that is the space between the discharge, discharge area, that is the space between the target and the substrate, that is the discharge area, where the ions are not that much, it has not that much rapid movement because it is ions only. It cannot follow the same rapid changes as that of the RF field. So that's why what happens due to this ion movement that is available upon the discharge area, that the electrons in that particular ionization actually directly attracted towards the DC target. DC target is attracted towards the DC at such a fast manner. So, such a fast manner, when it is attracted, what happens? These electrons will be hitting upon the surface of the target. Okay, they heat on the target and charge it. Once it is heat, what happens? It is charged. It is charged. The current flow to the RF generator is then prevented because the current flow is actually this on the it is actually the current flow that is on during the positive half cycle. Of course, the DC current that will be blocked by the capacitor because there is a capacitor placed in between that you might have seen here. So, this is a capacitor. So, there is no current flow as such when it is positive, when this becomes positive. Understand? When the target becomes positive, so that the electrons in the ionized atom will be getting attracted towards this one. So, it hits upon the surface here, dislodging more number of electrons here, and that actually causes to make more ionization on this discharge area, and so that this target material will be getting more and more vapor content, vapor of the material available here on this area in the form of a plume, and that will be deposited upon the silicon wafer. That is given here. So, during the positive half cycle of the RF, the target is positive. Electron from the discharge space is attracted to the target and they hit on the target and charge it. The current flow to the RF generator is prevented by the capacitor connected between the generator and the target. During the negative half cycle, because RF is actually having both positive and negative half cycle with a very high speed of the order of 13.56 megahertz. Okay, so what happens during the negative half cycle? During the negative half cycle, the substrate is positive. During the negative half cycle, what happens? Substrate is positive. Electron cannot leave the because when the target is positive, then substrate will be negative because which is under the negative half cycle. So during the negative half cycle, the substrate is positive. Substrate is positive. Electron cannot leave the target due to work function. Okay. So during the negative half cycle, the substrate is positive and electron cannot leave the target due to work function. And whatever electrons have hit upon the target, the electron cannot leave the target due to the work function. What do you mean by work function? Work function is actually the energy required to knock out an electron from a material surface. That is the work function. Work function of a material is actually the energy required. Work function of a material is actually the energy required to knock out an electron from the metal surface or material surface. ഒരു മെറ്റീരിയലിന്റെ സർഫസിൽ നിന്ന് ഇലക്ട്രോണിനെ നോക്കൗട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ ആവശ്യമായിട്ടുള്ള ഇലക്ട്രോൺ എനർജി എത്രയാണ് ഇൻ ടേംസ് ഓഫ് electron volts, how much is energy required to knock out, and that is what is called the work function. So due to this work function, actually what happens, the electron cannot leave the target due to that work function. Okay, so that so what happens? So as a result, the electron charge on the target remains constant. So whatever is the charge upon the target, that remains constant. So this is the RF sputtering. I have told you how this particular discharge takes place and how sputtering is done on RF sputtering. Okay. Due to heavy mass, positively charged ions are only subjected to the electric field caused by the electron charge accumulated on the target. The voltage due to the accumulated electron charge may be about 1000 volts. The voltage between this electrodes may be some 500 to 1000 volts. Hence, it can produce an ion of energy 1 kilo electron volt. 1 kilo electron volt. By making the area of the target electrode smaller. If the area of the target electrode is smaller than the other electrode, that is the substrate, that is the other electrode means substrate. If the area of the target electrode is made very smaller in area of cross section than the substrate electrode, the voltage drop at the target electrode will be much greater than the other electrode. So the voltage drop at the target electrode, that is the voltage drop at the target electrode will be very, very high. If the area is small, means the target electron will be having sufficient resistance in order to produce the heat, isn't it? So the target electrode will be having sufficient resistance in order to drop the voltage at the target. So the target electrode will be much the voltage drop at the target electrode will be much greater than the other electrode. Therefore, almost all the sputtering will occur at the target electrode. The induced negative biasing of the target due to the RF powering means that continuous sputtering of the target occurs throughout the RF cycle. So this is also very important to understand. The induced negative biasing of the target. The induced negative biasing of the target due to RF powering. So in DC sputtering, we have the negative voltage applied at the particular target material permanently. Here we are in RF sputtering, we are actually using RF voltage, which is connected to the DC, which is connected to the target through a capacitor, isn't it? So the advantage of using this RF, what is the advantage? The main advantage is almost all of the sputtering will occur at the target electrode. That is the induced negative. That is mainly due to the induced negative biasing of the target. Induced negative, because this kind of RF sputtering causes to make the induced negative biasing at the target, and due to the RF powering, which actually means that continuous sputtering of the target occurs throughout the RFX. So continuously the sputtering is possible with the target. So that deposition will be done over the wafer continuously. There is a continuous sputtering possible with this method. That is the use of this RF sputtering. RF sputter can be used for continuous sputtering of the materials, nanomaterials in the form of nanolayers or nanofilm. The limitations of sputtering technique is that apart from the neutral atom from the source, some other negatively charged species will be bombarded and interact with the surface of the ground film of nanolayer. It means that what is this? What does it mean? The main limitation of sputtering is that apart from the neutral atom, the form of ions that actually hits upon the surface of the target, isn't it? So apart from that particular neutral atom, there are species of negatively charged particles that may also appear as an impurity. That will be appear as an impurity, and that will also bombarded on the surface of the target. So that should not occur. That should not occur. So when such bombardment of the species interact with the surface of the ground film of the nanolayer, that may lead to the impurities on the film produced. So the nanolayer film produced will be having impurities. So that is the limitation of this sputtering technique. So with this discussions, we conclude the two sputtering techniques, that is the DC sputtering and the RF sputtering. You can go through the note will be very clearly giving all these aspects. So when you read the notes with this particular content I have explained now, then you will be getting more and more idea with regard to the operation of the sputtering techniques. Okay, thank you very much. So in the next class we will be discussing about the ion plating. That is also another method of PVD. Okay, thank you.